Are you looking to build influence? Or maybe to drive more traffic? But bottom line, you want to change the game. You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Business Building Book Club. We're going to give you the tools you need to succeed, both online and in person. Brought to you by Coach Molle and Three Pines Leadership. Hey, visibility hackers, and welcome back to the Business Building Book Club. I'm your host, Coach Molle from visibilityhacking.com. And this season, we're diving into Russell Brunson's expert secrets, and you should be following along. Why? Because, well, I don't want to read every single word to you, even though I do. So make sure you're subscribed so I can read this book to you. But every other week, I bring on someone super cool, super smart to talk about what we're learning in the book, what these chapters are actually looking like when applied to a real business. And well, today I have one of my favorite people in the world who I just interviewed for the Lifelong podcast. So if you're not subscribed to that show, definitely get on it. My friend, my purple-haired sister, Jenn Neal, welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight?
I am amazing. Thank you, Ms. Molle.
So
awesome.
Tell us about your business. What do you do? How do you help people?
I help experienced businesses who are producing content and frustrated that they're not actually seeing it create results or resonate. We talk about messaging, repurposing, and ways that you can actually cut your customer acquisition costs using the content you've already created.
Okay. There's so much to dive into that. So first off, you can cut my customer acquisition costs down, Second off, I'm producing a lot of content. Maybe I don't have as many eyeballs as I want on it. This is a thing that can happen. So tell us more. Tell us everything. How did you get into this world? What was your journey getting up into this point? Who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Awesome. All right. So I actually started off working in small business marketing straight out of high school. And I worked in corporate America for almost 15 years. And then I left. Well, I was helped to leave and decided to start my own business. And I ran a digital marketing agency for been 12 years now. And so I finally decided that I was tired of building other people's dreams and it was time to build my own. And luckily, I had all these years of experience. And so I looked back over the past of all the companies I'd worked with and I said, okay, of the ones that were really, really successful, what are the patterns? What did they do that the ones that were not successful, what are the differences? And really, it all came down to messaging and content, and using that in the right ways, being consistent and just having those like the right words that sort of ironically, that one big domino that kind of like drops people right in, right? But that's what I really found. And so I dove into this and I said, okay, if it's a matter of messaging and a matter of traffic, like if messaging brings the traffic, how are we bringing more traffic? And I looked at blogging strategies. Now listen, don't let me scare you because no digital marketer wants to be a blogger, like ever in the history of ever. We want to go do really awesome videos and talk and be cool. No. So I looked at like, how can we take what we're doing and the content we're already producing and apply blogging strategies so that we're getting that blogging traffic for leads without having to create a blog.
Yeah, because the blogging community has been fantastic when it comes to watching them grow leads, watching them grow communities of loyal people who come back post after post after post for long posts, for short posts. Really, watching different communities like that is one of the biggest skills that a digital marketer could have. So what did you learn from these communities? What did you learn from blogging?
I learned that you have to find a friend that's a blogger.
Yeah. That's
but
for
no,
sure.
I mean, they have nailed traffic, right?
Yeah.
Traffic and leads. We as marketers and business owners, we've nailed the sales process. Like we're great at selling, but we need the traffic and the leads.
Yeah.
And so like the biggest mistake that we make as online entrepreneurs is we're like, I have this new course, I have this new program or whatever, right? And I'm going to put it out here and then I'm going to go buy a bunch of Facebook ads and send it to it, which works. But if you think about the math on it, it's 2%. Mm-hmm. Like your really good conversions, you're at 2%. What about the other 98? Yeah. Do you think that if they clicked, they might be kind of interested? And do you think that if they're kind of interested and they might understand how online business works and they're like, I don't want to get followed or pixeled or in somebody's funnel or get my emails or whatever, they're going to go backdoor research you. And if they can't find anything, then you're basically non-existent. You just lost all that money.
Yep.
Untapped revenue.
Yep. Absolutely. So that can be kind of overwhelming for a small business owner or for a solopreneur, someone who's just getting started. Maybe they're reading Russell's book for the very first time. They're considering funnel hacking live, maybe. And they're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of work for me to do, Jen. Like you're kind of crazy. Okay. So for the small business owner, for the solopreneur who's just getting started and they know that they can't be everywhere at the same time, they have limited resources, limited time. What is your advice to them when they're getting started with all of this?
Fantastic question. I love it. Okay. So it really comes to essentially refining like your main message, if you want to call it your signature speech, your whatever you stand for. If you have that nailed, and I'm sure that you guys have talked plenty about this, but if you have that message nailed, the way that you can do that is really just by practicing, testing. And you just see how it's resonating, like what's happening. But if you add the power of Google and YouTube into that, then you can, like, if you're really thinking about your customer, like who it is that you want to help, and back it out. What are the big problems? What keeps them up at night? What are those things? And I know there's so much here, so I'm really trying to simplify, but like what are the things that they are really bothered by, and how are you solving that differently than other people in the market? That's really what it all comes down to. And it sounds a whole lot easier than it is. You will fail. I guarantee. And that's good, because you have to in order to find the right stuff. And then it's just like you can say the same thing over and over again 100 different times, and it may, like, different people will hear it. Yep. And it will resonate with them when they're ready, but it's not like you will get tired of saying it much faster than anybody else will.
Yeah, definitely. So how do we go out there, we create all this content, we test all these different hooks, we test all these different messages and segment our audience in different ways and speak to them in different ways. But then how do we figure out when we come back to our webinars that we're putting together and we come back to that core messaging, and we're thinking through Russell's framework and we're looking at the big domino? How do we go from testing all of these ideas to finding that one big domino? What's your advice with that?
You know, I honestly, I know that you said that you talk about Catherine all the time, but I have to give her kudos to this, because I really feel like she kind of nailed the framework on that, which is you're not only going to do your avatar work to figure out exactly what they need and what they want, but you're also going to look at all of your competition, and you're going to find out exactly what they're promising and how they promise it. Because when you figure out, I love what she talks about, like, what are the necessary evils that everybody else, the accepted evils that everybody else in the industry is doing. If you find a way to differentiate yourself from that, to do it faster, to do it more effective, to do it cheaper, not that I'm advocating for low price point, but but if you find a way to improve that and your thing is different, then it's perfect, because you're like, look, I know you've tried all these things. Like, I know you've started your podcast. I know that you've done Facebook Lives. I know that you've been doing content until you're blue in the face, but it's not getting anywhere. Well, the reason is because this one thing that I'm going to teach you how to do it differently. And then it's like, there's nobody else that can offer that same thing. So yeah.
Oh, that's big. That's big. So, okay. Russell's framework. We got our big domino. Then we have our 3 secrets. So how do you structure those 3 secrets? So we have like our vehicle problem and our internal problems and our external problems. So how do you go about sorting those and coming up with those and listening for those?
I just love doing that. I know there's a lot of people that say go to like Facebook or like a Facebook groups or have conversations. For me, I have found actually joining paid communities and joining other masterminds, or we even have a group of a bunch of us that were in Russell's 2CCX that we all still have a happy hour every Thursday. And so we go on and like, okay, guys, let's talk about this. And all you're doing, like, the more that you can record the words that people are actually saying in the words that they're saying, that's what makes the difference, right? And just gather all of the information. And after a while, the buckets, like, it's so confusing when you first start. I know I was like, okay, wait, this is the origin, and this is part of the, like, okay, this is the vehicle, now it's the internal and the external, like, they're all the same.
Yeah.
And if you really think about like the big buckets, the same things fall into the buckets all the time. So you start to be able to identify what those things are. But really, vehicle is this thing going to work? Like, is this actually going to work differently than anything I've done before, right? Yep. Internal, is it going to work for me? Can I actually do this? External, do I have the money? Do I have the resources? Do I have the time? Whatever. And so those words all still, like, but really, if you stick to those big 3 and you plug something in that's close, it's going to work.
Yeah. 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 And it's true when you listen to when you get into the right communities and then listen to those people. So that could be finding out a whole bunch of your favorite podcasters and then listening to the words that they're actually saying about what they're struggling with, or paid masterminds and paid programs. Like, I personally love doing that as well. Or if you're looking for, I did once, Russell and the team were running a high ticket challenge for like 30 days where people were going to build their high ticket funnel and all of that. So I went in with this like massive organic visibility strategy of just show up with 10 exclamation points. Okay.
I love that.
And it was so easy. It took my time to show up and be part of the program and do the work and get excited about it. But honestly, all I was doing was going in the chat, showing up, supporting people, celebrating their wins with them, offering advice, asking for advice, jumping on those organic calls that started showing up when people were generally excited. And then people started turning around thinking I was some big shot. And honestly, I had no funnel. I had no business idea at that point. I was just genuinely excited to be learning this stuff in this group. And so when you show up in whatever way it is, if it's listening to other people in paid programs, showing up in free challenges, giving value in that sense, whatever it is, have your ears open, my friends. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So if we listen twice as much to our customers than we talk and we produce content, we're going to be able to produce content with a way better message, a message that actually uses the words that come out of your people's mouths.
Yes.
And then what happens, which is really magical, is your people think you're reading their freaking minds. And you're like, no, you said that to me, Sally from Georgia. You told me about your specific struggle in your business. And we had a conversation about how my solution could maybe help you. And I took account of all of the words you said. If you're doing a sales call properly, you should be doing the same thing.
Yep. It's so true. You know, I mean, I have obviously a lot of experience, but I'm essentially starting over. I'm completely building a new business. So I'm right there in it with you. And you know what I did? I helped people for free because I can. Yeah. And walking through that with them just creates that one-on-one connection. And it's like, oh yeah, I hear that. Oh yeah, I hear that. Like, it just makes it so easy. Yeah. And also what you said, I'm sorry, I just have to add this one little thing. The showing up with energy and showing up authentically. Yep. The authenticity comes through. When I talk about storytelling, that's why it works. But like, you have to be genuine, because especially now, the online world is like so busy, insanely busy. And so part of how you're standing out and part of what makes you different, part of what makes your thing unique is you. Yeah. And that has to matter.
Yeah. For everyone who has ever been told by a boss that you need to like tone it down, or you need to dress a certain way for work, or you need to like use less exclamation points on the end of your emails, or you need to, you know, wear the more regular glasses or dye your hair a normal color. Right. Yeah. Listen up, because the world needs you and the world needs to hear you. Be that wacky, crazy, fun loving person, because the world needs to see that. And not only is it because we want your message out there, but it's actually a great way to be visible. Not only like just showing up visible, but actually you being you draws people to you. There's a psychological need for people to be with other people when they feel that energy come out. So do it, people. Show up, be there. I want to see you. Jen wants to see you. We're going to hang out with you because you're our people.
It's so true. I mean, and that's why competition isn't really competition, because the other people are going to attract the people that are resonated to them, and you're going to attract your people as long as you're being you. I love it.
And I like to, so I have this model I use where we have us as entrepreneurs, as business owners. We are here in this part of the world, and there are communities that we're standing on, the communities that have helped bring us to where we are. Then above that are the communities that we're actually serving, our people, our patrons, our customers, our clients, whatever you want to call them, your community of people. And then there's the tribe of people. And these are the people kind of around your head area. These are the other business owners that are there to support you. These are those other your 2CCX people who are in your mastermind, who are serving you. They're pouring value into you, and you're able to pour value into them. And that way you guys can continue to grow to the next level of community, which is just out of reach, just brushing the tips of your fingertips. And those are the communities that you are striving to become. So for me, I want to be a 2 club, like multiple 2 clubs on my wall, right? Like I will purposely ungreen screen the wall so that I can put them up there. Yeah. That is the community that's just out of my reach. So I'm using the community that's helped build my foundation by serving them, giving them that excited show up value, feeding into that community, feeding into the community that is my people, giving them shining back like a mirror, shining back everything that I've learned onto them so that we can grow. I'm serving the community of the tribe around me of badass entrepreneurs like Miss Jenn Neal herself. And then eventually we'll all be like reaching up, and then we'll be like hanging out in the 2 Comma Club or the 2 Comma Club X Club. And we'll just be rolling in it by then, and it'll be fabulous.
Absolutely. And then there'll be the next goal.
Exactly. We'll take over the world.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just that one.
Just that one. And then take over Netflix.
Together. That's awesome. Even a bigger goal, it feels like.
All right, Jenn Neal, any last comments, questions, concerns, or knock-knock jokes for our listeners today?
All right. I wish I would have known I could have prepped some knock-knock jokes, but I suck at jokes. You know what? If you want to find out any way or grab any of the amazing resources and stuff that we have, then I'll make sure that Molly, I know you have all the links and stuff, but check us out. Like you said, we're all about giving back first. So there is a ton of value and information, and our blog is huge just for information. So go check it out.
You have a blog, eh?
I do, but you know what it is? It's all repurposed content from our podcast.
Oh, brilliant. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, even if you're going to click the links, you're going to go to our website, you're going to check it out, and you're going to study it closely, because it's clearly a lesson in A, creating great podcast content, B, creating great video podcast content, C, it's also great for the process of repurposing your content, period. And the blog stuff. Remember the blog stuff? We talked about the blog stuff. The blog stuff is brilliant. We as marketers need more of the blog stuff. Go study the blog stuff. All right, guys. That's it for me. That's it for this episode. I'm Coach Molle, visibilityhacking.com. You're going to go click the links. You're going to go get into Jenn Neal's world. And if you are done with today and you're done with the book club, go check out the Lifelong podcast, because there is a great episode on there with Jenn Neal as well. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in our next one. Until then, remember, I love you, and be excellent to each other.